Today, we will be talking about a topic that is more personal. HIV AIDS. We'll be talking about a brief history of it and how it happened on that day. So, how about we get started? Hi guys, and welcome to another episode on the channel. And today, you cool guys, let's get talking about a medical disease. Today we will be talking about HIV, the cause for AIDS. First of all, let's get started with what AIDS is. AIDS stands for Acquired Immune Deficiency Syndrome. But if you want to shorten it up into an acronym, you would get this: AIDS. So, see it? Well, if you do, I'm pretty glad that you do. And what about HIV? Well, it is called a human immunodeficiency virus. And this is the cause for AIDS. So let's just see what it is when we take out the extra words. The HIV. So that is exactly what the topic of today's video is. So let's get quick into the notes first. How did all of this start? Well, it was probably given from a chimp. A lot of scientists have been wondering where the cause of HIV came from, and a group of scientists travel all around the world, finding a lot of parts and and family trees, Darwinian evolutionary trees of HIV viruses. This screenshot has been taken from the YouTube channel Stated Clearly. One of my favorite YouTubers of all time, by the way. I highly recommend their video. So, this is what the scientists who looked for HIV viruses came up with. They found some human strains and chimp strains. So, it is said that if there were missing links, then if there were like a gap where two similar strains can't be linked together, there were missing links and you had to go find out for them. And then one day in like old times, in the 1960s, I think, 1950s, they found the missing links. They were able to link all of these together and then find the link between the chimp HIV virus and the human HIV virus. But first of all, who the heck is this guy, and why do I think I've heard of him in a movie before? Well, this guy's name is Gaton Dugas, a Canadian who works for an airport. And his is the first case, his case of HIV is the ever first confirmed case of HIV AIDS. And he was known as Patient Zero because the chart showing the links between all the cases between HIV AIDS patients had him in the right smack middle of the chart. And everyone started calling him Patient Zero, as Zero would be like the mystery and stuff. And that's why everyone started blaming him. But however, it was a typo. They misunderstood it. It was actually an O, the letter O, not zero. So if they really wanted to write zero, they would have written like that. but it doesn't, so it makes it an O. And you know why they called it you know why they put an O in there? It was because they just wanted to show him that it was out of the United States, that this guy had nothing to be related to the United States at all, except that he's Canadian. And that's all. So this is how a typo was able to make everyone blame him, give the blame on who spread HIV on him. They blamed patient zero. They blamed a Canadian. They blamed a freaking Canadian. Which didn't mean O at all. Which didn't mean zero at all. It was O. And now let's talk about how HIV or AIDS has been transmitted. Now, one way it has been transmitted is through unprotected sex. So also by drug addicts who use the same needle that someone else has used, meaning non-clean needles for drug addicts. Some blood transfusion, which already has the HIV on it, through pregnancy, and non-sterile instruments, meaning non-clean instruments. However, the commonly misconceptions of how HIV or AIDS is transmitted is like this: through touching, physical touching would actually get transferred the virus. It does not happen. It can only be done through bodily fluids like blood, semen, spit. Yes, spit is okay. And mucus. Yes, obviously not surprising mucus, but also surprisingly also spit, but yeah, that's kind of awesome. That's kind of true. And also goes through our food. And that's not how HIV is transmitted. Just because you're sharing food, it doesn't mean that's how HIV has been transmitted. And just by kissing each other doesn't make HIV transmit. And insects don't transfer HIV. They don't even have their own strain. And in the pool, that is ridiculous. Just sharing a pool, that's okay. Just make sure you don't pee in there. The majority of people who got the disease were gay people. So this pandemic was nicknamed the gay plague, which made it harder for people to get the money that they seriously needed to make all those treatments that they needed. So they started doing boycotts and they started doing protests. And a lot of people got arrested because of these protests. These people just needed some money to get a freaking vaccine. And they weren't allowed. They weren't allowed just because they were gays. Just because they were like homosexuals and stuff. They just wanted money to make a vaccine. And it didn't do them any good. Because of that, some institutions and organizations have been founded. The AIDS United National Coalition of STD Directors, NMAC Leads with Race, NASTAD, the AIDS Institute, and of course, the UNAIDS. For heaven's sake, there were freaking speeches done about it. Nowadays, there are some medications that you can use to treat AIDS. However, it's not a vaccine. We haven't found a AIDS vaccine yet. So we're just gonna hope that these will do for now. These will help the HIV or AIDS infected people to get well and better. Medication known as PrEP can be prescribed by a doctor to someone who has HIV or AIDS to lengthen their lifetime expectancy. And condoms can also be used to help treat HIV, as long as it's prescribed by a doctor and no overuses, okay? And that, my friends, is the story of the HIV virus. This pandemic is still going on today. Mostly, it affects its most on sub-Saharan Africa. Look at a Wikipedia page with a map of the world of HIV on it, and you'll see that the red parts, the most, like the 13 to 50% part of the world, of 13 to 50% of the population part of the world would be in Africa. Those are the red areas. So, you can do a few things changes. Donate. Make sure you get a test of HIV every day. and also try to help and spread the word. Enjoy the video? Well, then I have one recommendation for you to learn more about AIDS, at least the AIDS March. In San Francisco, that photo I just showed you was a photo of San Francisco. This documentary, We Were Here, is a film by David Weissman, and it is about the protests for AIDS in San Francisco. It has won some awards, and this is one of the things I recommend you to watch to learn more about the AIDS pandemic. It's highly reasonable, and I think it's a good one. So I hope to see you guys in the next episode. So Shannon out. Peace. Da